Sports analysts explain their reason and what's needed as far as when speaking about Coach Prime Colorado Buffaloes. I will be back to the video. Shout out to On3.
I'm down here jet ski, chilling, living good, living motherfucking good, eating good, drinking good. Jamaica, smoking a bleed right by the beach. To escape the probation, I need a pinch of peaches.
What's good, YouTube? Mag Dog TV back with another video. If you're new here, stopping by for the first time, hit the like, subscribe button, comment. I really appreciate it. Also hit the notification bell. That way, whenever I upload a video, you guys be aware.
The conversation around Deion Sanders. And I've said many times, I said this yesterday on Twitter and actually got some responses I wasn't anticipating getting when it came to talking about this subject and my take on this subject.
14 seconds in and you're already talking BS. You say that you didn't know you was going to get this type of reaction after making this tweet about primetime Deion Sanders. Come on now, cut the BS. You already knew you was going to get that type of reaction because you're talking about primetime Deion Sanders.
I think you need to have some nuance when you talk about Deion Sanders. And I tweeted that out yesterday. And then when I tweeted that out, I was met with a little bit of opposition, people saying, what does there need to have nuance for? Why does there need to be nuance with Deion Sanders? You talk trash, you go 4-8, don't do it. Or they have an opinion on Deion Sanders need to recruit the high school level differently. And I have a lot of opinions on that, but I think we're in an interesting spot right now when you talk about Deion Sanders. He is bigger than college football right now. Like, he has become a national mainstream topic. Why? Because he's Deion freaking Sanders. He is arguably the best athlete to ever live. Played Major League Baseball, played NFL football. I don't think it's an argument he is the best defensive back to ever live. And so right now, people are fascinated with Colorado, and they're fascinated with Coach Prime.
Of course, we all know what prime time is. I mean, prime time was prime time before this moment of college football. And I know there's a lot of you youngins out there. And I mean, I fall under the tail end of being a youngin, but I know who prime time is and I know how he became prime time. And a lot of times people just do not understand how great prime time was, not only in football, but in marketing as well. Curly hair, jewelry, you know what I'm saying, getting flown out after a NFL combine and then running a 4.2 and then going out for an MLB championship, then Super Bowl. I mean, that prime time, the way he did it was just special. But I think all of that is what made primetime who he is, and then he's very outspoken, and people don't like it. But at the end of the day, primetime is primetime.
And so I mentioned that just because anytime you become a national topic and you become larger than life, so to speak, folks sort of tend to just view you in a 2D perspective. Meaning right now we talk about Deion Sanders, and it is either all good, you think he can do no wrong, you think he's going to win a national title out there in Boulder, you think anybody and everybody that has anything negative to say about Deion Sanders is just a hater and they want to see Coach Prime fail. That's one camp. You have another camp that thinks Deion Sanders is going to have a train wreck kind of operation this upcoming season at Colorado. They think the way that he's doing it is wrong. They think the way that he operates on Twitter is wrong. They think that the way that he adds talent and only uses the portal for the most part right now is wrong. And they think it's just going to be an absolute dumpster fire. I'm here to tell you, I don't really subscribe to either thought as of right now. And I think that's more than fine. I think it's okay for us to have a little bit of nuance. Now, why are we talking about Deion so much? Because I know we're going to get some of that in the live chat and some of that in the comment section. Say, you keep talking about Deion. Y'all, the reason we talk about Deion Sanders is the same reason I tell you we are the People's College Football Show. We supply what y'all demand. So if there was not a demand for us to talk about Deion Sanders, we wouldn't do it.
So I take this as you're basically talking about Deion because you know it's going to get you clicks. It's going to get you views. That's why you're talking about Deion. Me personally, I'm talking about Deion because I know that's what you guys want to talk about, as well as I support Deion Sanders. I love the fact that a lot of people don't want to see him win, and he proved them wrong. I love that adversity. I love seeing somebody accomplish those things. And, of course, it adds some value when you are getting acknowledgement or you're getting attention from speaking about Deion. But I can talk about Miami. I can talk about Ohio State. My Ohio State videos get a lot of views as well. So it's not even about the clicks for me. It's more so about being able to just talk about the game that I love. But I understand what he's saying. He's getting the clicks. He's getting the views. People are loving the fact that him talking about Deion.
Same reason we're not talking about Ivy League football. I love Ivy League football. I could talk about it all day long, but y'all wouldn't care at all. Y'all would turn the show off so fast. And so when it comes to talking about Deion, the supply and demand is there. So when it comes to the way that we talk about Deion Sanders, going back to my point here, I think we need to kind of break down this mental barrier for us that we can't say anything negative about Deion Sanders. Like, Deion Sanders is a college football head coach, and I understand that he has celebrity status. We still, on this show, being a college football show, have to talk about him as a college football head coach. We have to understand that, like, that is his job. He is paid to win ball games, and that was a big reason why when that Athletic article came out and that Athletic graphic came out where Xavier Smith is talking about how he wasn't, known by Deion Sanders. He felt like he destroyed kids' confidence. Again, the article, I think, read completely different than how that graphic made it seem. It wasn't a hit piece. I thought it was just, quite frankly, a report. It's okay for us to say, yeah, Deion Sanders is a head coach. He's supposed to win football games. Like, I have no problem with him cutting players. It's the business. If you're hiring someone to do a job and he does something to help him do that job better, he says, hey, this ingredients, the supplies I have right now is hindering me from getting done what you want me to get done, and acts accordingly. Why are we dunking on Deion Sanders for that? I have no issue with that. But in the exact same time, if I tell you, hey, they went 4-8 last year, there are things to me that scream dysfunction about Colorado, whether it be Sean Lewis being demoted, felt kind of like a panicky thing, and then he goes and takes a head coaching job, felt like a bad move. Seeing all the things with the players that have transferred out, some of those I understand, they weren't real losses. I think Dylan Edwards was a real loss. It is what it is.
A couple things he said I want to hit on. The first thing he said was primetime sign up for what to come as far as the criticism as far as being a coach. I agree with that 100%. Every analyst should have a right to come at Coach Prime as far as his coaching profession, but I feel like a lot of times they do it in a way of hate, envy, the things they say and how they say it. You never see them coming at certain coaches that look like Coach Prime in the way that they do it, in my personal opinion. As far as the transfer portal, for an example, since he brought that up, there's so many schools that have lost players to the transfer portal, not just Colorado. The only reason why it's a big deal is because what he mentioned in the beginning of the video, it is primetime Deion Sanders. Now, I disagree with him as far as them losing anything from the transfer portal, including Dylan Edwards. We have Dallin Hayden, Ohio State running back, Michael Welch, who probably was producing better than Dylan Edwards if we keep it in a buck, and, of course, Charlie Offerdale, who's been grinding since last year. But, see, these analysts, these commentary people, they don't understand this because they don't react to the practices every single day like I do. So, of course, I know more about the football team than they do. And I'm here to tell you guys, I'm not being biased. You guys know I'm as 100 as it is. Colorado haven't lost anything that I'm concerned about to this day right now.
I just think there has to be a little bit of allowance here for us to have a middling opinion on Deion Sanders. We don't have to think he's the greatest of all time as a college football coach because they went 4-8 last year. We also don't have to believe that it's just an absolute train wreck. Now, I've been very honest about this on this show. I have been critical of Deion Sanders and how he approaches the high school talent acquisition level. I really do. I think that the way they have approached adding high school talent, and most notably not doing in-home visits, is a massive mistake. And that's not because I think Deion Sanders isn't a great recruiter. In fact, the opposite. I think if he were to go in-home, it would change the game for Colorado recruiting. It would change the game for how they acquire high school talent.
What this guy do not realize is that primetime has already changed the game for Colorado recruiting. And if you want to speak about high school, only reason why he hasn't changed the game completely is because Coach Prime loved the transfer portal. He even mentioned why he loved the transfer portal. Don't blame Coach Prime for this. Blame the NCAA, because at the end of the day, the transfer portal is free agency. You can go in there and see what you're getting. You know what you're getting when you cut on the film. You see what these guys done at their previous schools. In high school, you really don't know if they're going to pan out. What I'm saying is that you really don't know what you're getting just because a guy is great from high school. And if primetime was to fly out to a parent's home, sit down and do all this extra stuff, you don't have to do that in today's era, man. It's all about social media. It's all about using your phone now.
And I understand he wants to go through the portal, and guys that are going through the portal don't really have a ton of interest in the home visit stuff or what have you. Like, I hear all those excuses and explanations, but again, we can have an opinion and say Deion Sanders should do in-home visits. Doesn't mean I'm a hater. Doesn't mean Deion Sanders isn't still going to be a good coach long-term at Colorado, but these are things that college football coaches have done and had success doing. I think it's fair for us to say, hey, Deion, maybe this would be a good move for you to do.
I agree with him 100%. He should have a right to judge Coach Prime based off of those things because it has been done prior, which has been successful. We saw Harbaugh doing it last season. He won a national championship. Nick Saban done it, won plenty of national championships, the greatest coach to ever do it. So he has a right to feel that way, and I don't feel like he's a hater just because that's his opinion, because at the end of the day, he don't have to agree with everything that Coach Prime does. I agree with him 100% on that.
So that's neither here nor there. But this is the thing that I think needs to be addressed too. People seem to have a hard time separating Deion Sanders and how he operates as a person and how he operates as a coach. Like when he goes on Twitter and is trash talking not former players, but players that are offending former players, and the way that he's tweeting about his son being a top 5 pick to a guy with a Tank Dell profile picture and 271 followers. Like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't want my college football head coach doing that. But at the exact same time, it doesn't mean he's not going to be a good coach. Like talking trash and the way that you operate on Twitter, I don't think it necessarily correlates exactly to what you're going to do on Saturdays in the fall. Now, I understand it rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be talking trash after a 4-8 season. Maybe we shouldn't say we got time when we're talking about how we don't have enough time to go do in-home visits. I see that thought process too. But the way that Deion operates is the way that Deion operates. And the way that Deion has beat to his own drum since the beginning of time is why he has had the career he's had. It's why he was able to go play Major League Baseball and be in the NFL at the exact same time. Like, the way that he does things is specific to Deion, and it's why he's had the success that he's had. So, at like the end of the day here, what I'm trying to say is it's okay for us to not have a totally absolute opinion on Deion Sanders. Are there some things that I truthfully would like to see him do differently? Yes, I've been vocal about those. High school recruiting, the way he operates on Twitter, all those things. I'd like to see it happen in a different way. But also, it's impossible to ignore the positives. Had a 3-win improvement when he showed up. They were 1-11. He made them 4-8. 4-8's not phenomenal, but 4-8 also taking 3 more wins, you would take that in a heartbeat. If you're any other team in the country, you take a 3-win improvement, regardless of what you were the year before. So, bottom line here, it's okay to not be absolute in our opinion on Deion Sanders. Doesn't have to be all bad. Doesn't have to be all good. It can be somewhere in the middle. I like a lot of what he's done. There's a lot that I would like to see him do differently and stuff that I, quite frankly, just don't think he should do. At the end of the day, Deion's going to be Deion, and here's my favorite part about this whole thing. This is one of the reasons why I'm so okay with talking trash, just period, regardless of it being Colorado or if it's Oregon or if it's Miami or if it's Texas. Like, I'm okay with talking trash because the beautiful part about college football is you eventually have to play the game. You got to play the game. And the consequence of talking trash and then getting beaten, or the consequences of winning, is you get to then live with what you said, and that's how you go forward from there. You either become a social media punchline, or you look like a boss because you called your shot and then you went out and handled business. So at the end of the day here, it is what it is, and Deion's going to be Deion in that field in 2024 that they play on every single Saturday. That's going to tell us the truth about Colorado, and at the very least, give us some more answers. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.
So my final thoughts is a very good video. Make sure you guys go out there and subscribe to On3. I will have a link to this video and his channel in the description for those that want to check him out. He has a lot of good stuff, man. But I agree with him 100% as far as at the end of the day, you're still going to have to play whether you are Coach Prime, Colorado, Oregon, Alabama. At the end of the day, you still going to have to line it up. And that's what makes the game of football so special, because at the end of the day, we all sitting here talking the talk because it's the off season. But when the season starts, that is when it's going to get very interesting, man. But at the end of the day, I will say this as well. Regardless of if you are a Colorado critic or not, whether you want Coach Prime to do this, do that, it doesn't really matter. Primetime Deion Sanders is going to do what primetime Deion Sanders wants to do, whether I like it or you like it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is nothing new to primetime. He's always been this way, and he's going to remain that way, which is why I love me some primetime. I actually take notes if we're keeping it a buck. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys feel about this video, the topics, or some of the things that were said in this video. And if you guys like the video, definitely subscribe to the channel. Peace.